We've got the Dunkin' Tea guy working hard. There's no honey in it, but it's all good. That's Tommy saying, good to be back, both. That's all that is. Did you guys have nice holiday weekends?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you for asking. Yes.
You did. It was nice?
Great. Yeah.
Yeah? Cool. Anything special we need to know about or no?
No.
Nothing? No? Tommy, how about you?
What
do the wealthy people that live in New York City do during Thanksgiving?
The same thing that the peasants do. We just, hang out, enjoy the family, watch
Yeah?
TV.
Did you go to Long Island?
Count the money. Yes, I did. I went to go see my parents.
When do you count the money? Before or after you do the wishing bone?
Both.
You count the cash before.
Lit a fire, Thanksgiving. It was great.
Nice.
It's great to be rich.
Not in a solo stove, you didn't?
I did not. We have 2 fireplaces in my apartment.
Oh,
2? one in my wife's office and then one in the living room.
His wife's office.
2 fireplaces in a New York
City apartment. Yeah, and they both work, which fascinates me. Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy a roaring fire in your New York City apartment.
Good for you.
And Big Mac, your mom made the turkey,
well.
right?
Yeah, my mom made the turkey.
Yeah.
Father-in-law made some pasta, brought it over. It was nice.
Okay, nice.
Really good holiday.
A nice holiday?
Yep.
And your Giants covered, so you must be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
Right? A meaningless touchdown late gives you the W, which I know there were a lot of people, and I get it. I'm aware of the spread. I don't play, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
But when that last play, you're like, hold on, guys, this means something.
But don't you think in watching that game, the final score was indicative of how close the game actually was?
Wasn't?
Was. Like the Giants weren't blown out in
Losing
this
by
game.
a score? Yeah.
Things got out of whack after Saquon dropped that 4th down play, and the Cowboys marched down the field back-to-back times,
right.
and they opened up a big lead. But for the first 3/4 of this game, this was a very competitive game that I think as a Giant fan, you thought, holy crap, we may steal this one.
100%. You were winning at halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the Dallas Cowboys didn't outclass you.
No.
They outlasted you.
They did. They
I think that's the way to put it. Yeah.
They out-talented you.
But you're right. If Saquon makes that catch, I'm not saying the Giants win, but it's a different ballgame.
Like the Texans,
because that
Dolphins.
changed. And then give the Cowboys credit. The Cowboys then marched.
Absolutely.
And they took the game over, and that's that.
But not all backdoor covers are the same. Like if the Texans had pulled off a backdoor cover yesterday against Miami, they down 30-0. They ended up losing 30-15. Let's say they lost 30-18 and they covered. We all agree, oh my God, that's a backdoor. The Giants were in that game. The Giants could have won that game.
Sure.
You could argue the Giants should have won that game based on some of the things that happened over the first 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, but you covered. So, and that's the issue with gambling. Your team lost, but you're not too pissed off because you had money on them for Thanksgiving, meaning you could buy your kids presents for Christmas. I mean, that's what the Thanksgiving wagering is, putting money away for Christmas.
Well, Big Mac may not be pissed off, but the head coach was. Brian Daboll had one of the angriest post-game press conferences you'll see.
Because he knows they had a chance to win.
Of course.
Like, if you lose 26-3, all right, game. You just weren't in the game,
right.
And every team's going to have a game like that. But I think he recognizes coming off the loss last week, and then going to Dallas, short week, division game, blah 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 blah. That's a game they could have won.
They could have stolen it.
I think that's why he was so pissed off.
I think both Cowboy games are games they could have won.
Yeah, I agree. But they lost, and
not to use it as an excuse, but I think it was part of the reason he was pissed off was the lineman down the field that took away a touchdown.
Yes.
I mean, that's
which, by the way,
it's a ticky. I mean, he's a
half a
stride.
I agree.
Yeah.
That is a terrible
And
call.
his answer when he was asked about that was very bluntly, ask the official.
Yeah,
you can tell he was frustrated.
Was he a foot past where he should have been?
Maybe.
He's not involved in the play at all.
Right.
He's not blocking anybody.
It was a terrible call.
It's like he's not even on the field.
The other thing,
and that is a cheap flag to throw in that spot.
The other thing he was pissed off about was the 10 men on the field on the 4th down play.
Well, he should be.
And every time he was pressed, like, how did it happen? He said, I forget how he said it, but basically just did not want to talk about it. Like, we know, we'll fix it. Like, he was pissed about it, and rightfully so, because you can't make little mistakes like that and beat a more talented football team.
No, because they're not good enough to right now. Like, you're still playing with some house money, but we'll get into the Giants later. You know, the Giants are at a crossroads right now as far as making the playoffs go. But the Jets are the story, and Mike White making his triumphant return, and every Jet fan going bonkers right now for Mike effing White. I get it. Let's rock. Here's Richie in Franklin Square. Richie, what's going on?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good.
Evan, I agree with you 100%. It's a totally different team. We have offensive weapons now. He's just got to be like our Sanchez. Don't get us in trouble.
Right.
Our defense is going to keep us in the game. and you make a plays here and there. He's got guys he could throw the ball to now.
That's it.
Like they had Edwards and Santonio Holmes.
Yeah, last year. Last year, his weapons were very, very different. He was really connecting with Jamison Crowder more than anything. And second of all, last year as Jet fans, we were excited about the prospect of him and what he would be. Yeah. That's not what we're excited about right now. We're excited about this team. They're 7-4, and he's good enough to help them kind of navigate these last 6 games and make the playoffs for the first time in a decade.
You know, here's the difference to me, Richie, and it's very simple, is that there were open receivers on almost every play, and he threw the ball to the right guy. I would say out of all,
in the rain.
Yeah. Now, listen, can you argue he threw behind this guy? Yeah, every quarterback's going to do that, so I'm not going to be critical of that. He threw for more than 300 yards, and he's part of the reason they won the game, period, stop. But what we never saw out of Zach Wilson was what we've now seen twice out of Mike White, an offense that looks competent. A quarterback who's willing to look at the field. All right, nobody's open deep. I'm going to hit the guy in the numbers who's 8 yards away from me.
He makes better decisions than Zach Wilson.
No doubt about it. Now, he's not as athletic. No, he's not going to beat you with his legs.
No.
But he's a competent pocket passer. And look, he's going to throw interceptions. But if there's an open guy, he's going to find him, and he's going to hit him.
Look, a big part of being a quarterback in this league is being smart and reading defenses and making quick decisions. That's what he has over Zach right now.
Yeah.
And I'm sick and tired of waiting, especially when my team's in a playoff race. If the Jets were buried right now, it'd be different. You want to play the guy with the more raw talent because, boy, if he could ever put it together, he could be a superstar. That's not where the Jets are right now.
No.
You're talking about a guy that just needs to make those smart decisions. And look, football's a game of inches. On that second touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson that put them up 14-10, he was an inch and a half away from throwing an interception. It went right over the defender's hands. Adams, I think was his name. Right over his
Probably
hands.
should have been picked.
But guess what?
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
That's it.
And Garrett made the play and was off for 54 yards, and it's a 14-10 game.
Right. That's exactly right. And right now, in one game, everything went right for him. And Zach Wilson has experienced the exact opposite. Yeah, but it's his fault.
Yeah, everything going right is created.
Yeah, and
that's
by the
not
way,
just luck.
I have no issue, as opposed to some other people I've heard call in, and you'll be on the radio today. Zach Wilson's sideline demeanor.
I don't care.
Who cares?
I
Number
don't
one.
care.
Number two, there was nothing objectionable about it. It doesn't matter.
Look,
Zach Wilson right now, and you'll hear 3:15 from Coach Saleh, Zach Wilson is no longer the story.
Zach Wilson's irrelevant.
Now, you want to talk next year? We'll save that. I got a playoff team right now.
If this was a different circumstance and a different situation, maybe I'd care more about how he's reacting on the sideline. He is a third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
It's over. Yes.
For now.
Of course there's a scenario that could lead to him playing again, just like there's a scenario where Daniel Jones isn't the starter anymore.
But I'll tell you
this.
If you're a Jet fan, and we are, that scenario is not a good one.
No.
If Zach Wilson's playing again, it's because Mike Wilson either got hurt. Mike White either got hurt or was so incompetent, we had no choice.
Absolutely. When Robert Saleh says, we'll see Zach Wilson again, most Jet fans respond by saying, I hope not. And that's nothing personal because it's all about winning. We don't have allegiances to players around here. We have allegiances to winning. And if Mike White can play competent football, he's the quarterback for the rest of the year. And then come February, we'll all have a picnic together and we'll all debate what they should do in the future. But the future is for then. It's not for now. It's like the Mets and the Yankees in September and October. We'll talk about the offseason when it's the offseason. The great quarterback debate of 2023, Craig, is a wonderful discussion we'll have in 3 months.
Right.
But for now, we got bigger business.
Yeah, and that's winning football games because right now we're a game up. We have that last playoff spot, and we control our own destiny. Now, I think we're going to have a very tough game against Minnesota because their offense is going to be one of the best we've faced all year. I think you see a couple warts with the Jets defense from time to time. But right now, we're all feeling pretty damn good about ourselves because we have a quarterback who wasn't the reason we lost the game. To the contrary, he's the reason we won the game. And it looked good. I mean, Jim, the mere fact that Elijah Moore is on the field and making plays, I'll do you one better. And I don't care. Listen, the Elijah Moore touchdown's great. But there was a play earlier in the game that was more important. and that was Elijah Moore blocking down the field.
Yeah, man.
Fully committed to a ball that's not going to come to him, but being a team guy. And those are the knocks that you usually have on young, petulant wide receivers who aren't getting the ball a lot. Yep. They don't block. They're not team guys. And I saw, as you saw, Elijah Moore setting a great block that got us another 10 or 15 yards yesterday. And I said to myself, maybe it's the Mike White thing, I don't know. But Elijah Moore is a professional again.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Well, how about the fact that Garrett Wilson, who's had a fine rookie season, has caught 4 touchdown passes this season?
Yeah.
None of them from Zach Wilson.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Flacco, huh?
The first 2 were Joe Flacco. The last 2 were Mike White.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
It's not just Elijah Moore. And yes, we saw fully engaged Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
We saw Elijah after the game saying he couldn't wait to make love to the football or something of that nature.
Yeah, which is a little Odell Beckham-esque to me, and I don't really care for that, especially after the story from this weekend. Odell Beckham was on a plane in Miami, and he was in and out of consciousness, and they asked him to put on his seatbelt, and while he didn't act like a total douche knuckle, he apparently didn't put on the seatbelt.
Right.
And they had a tough time waking him up. And he was, as the story goes, in and out of consciousness where they couldn't somehow they couldn't get a seatbelt on him.
Right.
And that part of the story I don't really quite understand, because if you're sleeping next to me, I'm just going to put your seatbelt on for you.
Right.
And away we go. And because he wouldn't put the seatbelt on and they could barely wake him up, they made the entire plane deboard.
Yeah.
And it became like a huge to-do.
The whole story is strange.
It's weird, right?
And by the way, just to add on to the Garrett Wilson thing, because I do find this fascinating, enlighten me or tell me if I'm crazy.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, that's why I'm here.
So 4 touchdown receptions for Garrett Wilson, none from Zach Wilson.
Okay.
Right? Elijah Moore now in his NFL career has 6
He had 5
touchdown
last year,
receptions.
right?
Had 5 last year.
Led the team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them is from Zach Wilson. I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah.
1 of the 6 from Zach Wilson. 0 of the 4 from Garrett Wilson.
Right.
Now, that's not the end-all, be-all about Zach, but it's just showing you in small sample sizes the best of this group has not come with Zach at quarterback. It hasn't.
No, not from a scoring
It didn't even
standpoint.
last year, and it isn't this season. And that's why this is Mike White's time now.
Yeah, and let me be clear. I'm thrilled about this. Mike White's the guy. I don't want to go back to Zach Wilson either. I just want to temper everybody that we've played out this playbook word for word, literally a year ago. The same exact thing happened. We got all crazy last year, and then it blew up in our faces.
But it's not.
I'm just going to slow my roll a little bit.
Elijah Moore has caught more touchdown passes in his NFL career from Mike effing White than Zach Wilson.
Well, there you go.
That's just a fact.
Who knew that he'd be wide open? Here's Matty in Long Beach. Matt, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, fellas? So, listen, after that first drive on Sunday, it was blatantly obvious to me why Mike White didn't start the first 3 games of the season.
Why?
Right?
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because there would be a quarterback controversy.
Oh.
No, they didn't know that.
Okay.
It was you stud.
You know what's funny, Matt? It's tough to argue with you right now. Like,
Well,
seriously.
it's obvious. It was going to totally be a quarterback.
No, but it is difficult because I can see
By the way,
Craig's
they
eyes
started
right now.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, but look,
They didn't
here's
start Mike White.
But that's the point.
That's
Why
the point,
didn't Mike
right.
White start at the beginning of the season, Craig?
First off,
Why
our
did he
guy
start?
was hurt.
No, Mike White. Answer the question.
Yeah.
Why didn't Mike White start at the beginning of this season?
The only thing I can tell you is that he had a terrible preseason.
No question.
No way.
Yeah. No question.
No
He
way.
did. No, but Matt. I'm sort of agreeing with you at this point, but you have to admit he had a bad preseason.
He was terrible.
He was outplayed by Chris Trevler, right?
Listen,
Matt, I'm on your side. You have to admit that, though, right? You watched the preseason. He sucked.
Traveler was a beast.
Okay. It is impossible right now, as much as Craig wants to, because he wants to argue with you. I could tell. He wants to say that's not the reason. The Jets would never do that. The Jets would never make a quarterback decision based on fear of a controversy. But it is very difficult right now for one to argue how Mike White didn't start at the beginning of the season.
Sure.
Why didn't he?
The only thing I could say is that they thought they had a better chance to win with Flacco because White looked terrible in August.
Or were they
I don't know.
afraid that if Mike White played like this, Zach could never get the job
Yeah,
again?
but they've shown you they're not afraid to make the tough decision.
Well, now
right?
they aren't, because of course they have to. Zach's coming off one of the worst quarterback games you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the defense won so many games for him. They become 5-3, and he goes. They look at Zach and they're like, I don't know if this guy could take. You know what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, they were 5-2 with Zach Wilson as a starting quarterback. Let's not act like they didn't win a bunch of football games.
But they didn't win because of the quarterback.
Agreed. Totally agreed. But they were 5-2 with the guy. Right, so then he doesn't have a losing record.
No,
this
but
year.
it's very different to make this quarterback change now than installing him at the beginning of the season. Have him play well and say, "Oh, gee golly, Zach, sorry, I know you played well at the end of last year."
That if Mike White started while Zach was hurt, and Mike White, let's make it up, goes 2-3. I'm not even being crazy about it, but he's got a full command of the offense, right? Yeah, you're in a tough spot.
For a long time, for the last 6 months, there have been a group of people known affectionately as Mike White truthers.
Mike White truthers.
That's right.
Nice.
And the Mike White truther believed he was being held back by the Jet organization, that they were afraid. My old radio partner in a lot of ways, Mike White truther.
Oh, come on. He changes his opinion when the wind blows.
But Beningo would say, I believe the Jets think White's better, and they don't want to deal with the controversy. Now, I disagreed with Joe. I'm not a Mike White truther.
Right.
I try to call things the way I see it.
Of course.
But based on the way White played yesterday, and based on the way White even played last year.
Yes.
And then throw in the fact that they decided to start a fossil named Joe Flacco to start the year.
Who saved their season, by the way, in Cleveland. But go ahead.
Mike White could have played better. We don't know.
We don't know. That's true. Very true.
It's very difficult today to go back to September and answer that question.
Yeah.
You can't answer it.
I can't.
Why did Mike White not start?
I can't answer that. The only thing I could say is he played like crap in August, and that had to be a part of it.
Dude, I completely acknowledge that during the preseason, Mike White didn't play well.
Like,
I
if
admitted
he had
that.
the preseason that Strevler had, maybe it's a much better argument to make.
Maybe.
I'm with you on that. And plus, you know the deal. We talk about it all the time. When you're the second overall pick in the draft, and they've got $35 million guaranteed coming your way, and you're a fifth-round draft pick with nothing coming your way.
Bingo.
There's more of there's more of a leg to stand on that we're going to do everything we can to develop that guy and not that guy. That's what it is.
You're arguing for the Mike White truthers. That's why. Because if Mike White had played well to start the year, most Jet fans, myself included, would be screaming and yelling, we got to play this guy. Why are we sitting him? It was always easier to sit a fossil like Joe
100%.
Flacco.
Yes.
But here's the truth to that question by our last caller and anyone who's a Mike White truther. None of that matters anymore. He didn't start the first 3 games. He's the starter now. He's the man now. Let's see what he's got.
Well, we're going to do that for sure.
It's all right in front of him now.
By the way, what size sweatshirt did you order?
Large.
You got a large. Extra large?
Yeah.
You going baggy now?
I like to have room.
Yeah.
It's a very busy Thanksgiving.
Why, did you gain weight or lose weight over Thanksgiving?
No, I think I stayed the same.
I stayed exactly the same.
No.
And I went up and down for the 4 days. I weighed myself every day.
Did you?
Just to see, because I ate a lot of pasta too. Yeah, it was up and down and up and down. But I came in here dead even. Interesting. 210 on the nose.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I didn't really pig out on Thanksgiving. I love the filet mignon and the stuffing and everything that we ate. No turkey this year in honor of our great turkey friend named Turk. And I felt like it was a kind of a normal.
Yeah.
I didn't abuse myself.
You did not.
No.
Because you look like you might have.
You think I look plump?
No, you looked plump going into Thanksgiving. You did. All right, 877-337-6666. It's Carton and Roberts on the Fan. You know the numbers to jump in. We'll do a lot of the NFL stuff later today. Obviously, a lot of Jets. We got Robert Saleh coming up. Ballpark 315. Hear his thoughts on the win and moving forward with, of course, Mike White. Here's the interesting question. Will he commit to Mike White beyond the Minnesota game? Or does he say, guys, look, we're enjoying what happened yesterday. Allow us to enjoy that. We're now focused on the Vikings, and let's see what happens against the Vikings. Like, there's no pressure, I don't think, to have to anoint Mike White.
No.
Well, we all know he's the quarterback going forward.
He's the starting quarterback against the Vikings.
Yeah, and I think you can leave it at that, and that's fine.
That is fine.
Yeah, I don't think you owe anyone anything
As
beyond
someone that is enthralled by the way Mike White played, I don't need the full throttle, he's the starter for the rest of the year endorsement.
Because he might not be.
Well, and also, if he plays well, it takes care of itself.
Sure.
The difference between this situation and a year ago, and there are a lot of differences we've already pointed out, is that Zach was hurt. So there was always that thought of, well, when Zach's healthy, what do they do? Zach's not hurt.
He lost his job. That's right.
He lost his job. So if a guy plays better while a guy just lost his job because of the way he played, you're not giving that job back.
Yeah. By the way, if I'm Zach Wilson, I'm the best scout team quarterback this franchise has ever seen. Like, that means something now, right? You got to go out there,
It does.
and you have to try to dominate the Jet defense as the scout team quarterback. That's
Sure,
it.
but the only thing that's going to save Zach Wilson, and this is unfortunate, but it's the truth, because apparently him and Mike F. and White are friends. Mike F. and White has said that. He's a friend before he's a teammate. Those
Okay,
are the
I
words
respect that.
of our Lord, Mike F. and White.
Here we go again.
No, I'm just kidding.
By the
The
way, remember last year?
What?
The question was, did Zach text you?
Oh, yeah.
And Zach says, yeah, I texted him, but he didn't respond. And then it turned out he texted him like during the game or something like that.
Right. The only way for Zach to get the job back is for Mike F. and White to suck.
Yeah,
That's it.
or get hurt. Right.
Hurt or suck. That's the only way. Zach Wilson could be the most impressive scout team quarterback in the history of scout team quarterbacks. That's not going to get them to bench Mike F. and White.
No, but it's probably important for him moving forward for this team and for his career, but that's another story for another day.